Look what we have here, men. I think we've just been blessed.
Uh-oh. Low gains, men. This can't be good.
Didn't we spend all morning asking about an elf by this very description? And everyone said they hadn't seen one.
It seems we were lied to.
Gentlemen, surely there's no need for trouble. These are no doubt simply more poor souls seeking refuge.
They're more than that. Now stay out of our way, sister. You protect these traitors, you'll get the same as them.
Right, let's make this quick.
Right, one. We surrender.
Good. They've learned their lesson and we can all stop fighting now.
What do you want to tell him? I'll tell him! Right away, now. Thank you.
I apologize for interfering, but I couldn't just sit by and not help. Save my life. I assure you, I can handle myself. Let me introduce myself. I am Leliana, one of the lay sisters of the Chantry here in Lothering. Or I was. They said you were a Grey Warden. I'm surprised you're an elf. But elves must want the Blight defeated as much as humans, no? I know after what happened you will need all the help you can get. That's why I'm coming along. That and the Maker wants me to go with you. Then you believe me? I knew the Maker had sent a true dream. A vision that by serving you, I serve his holy plan.
Perhaps your skull was cracked worse than Mother thought.
Thank you. I appreciate being given this chance. I will not let you down. Yes? Well, here I am. Quiet. It was a life suited for contemplation. In the cloister, away from the fuss and the flurry of the cities, I found peace. And in that stillness, I could hear the Maker. But it was not perfect. Some of my Chantry fellows were condescending. That is the nature of religious folk, I suppose. When I talked about my beliefs, that the Maker reveals himself in the beauty of his world, they treated me with disdain. They want to believe that he's gone, so that when he turns his gaze on them, it means they are special, chosen. He cannot possibly have love for all, the sick and the weary, the beggars and the fools. Thank you. Maybe I am wrong. But it is the Maker's place to decide if I am worthy, not men, not the Chantry. But there is work to be done, and I have talked enough for now. What is meant by someone like me? And there were no beautiful, charming women in the cloisters, you think? You would be wrong. There were many lovely young initiates in the Lothering cloister, all of them chaste and virtuous. It added to their mystique, because then they were forbidden, and forbidden fruit is the sweeter, no? My fruit? I can't believe I'm having this conversation. But no, I did not take vows. The Chantry provides succor and safe harbor to all who seek it. I chose to stay and become affirmed. I was a traveling minstrel in Orlais. Tales and songs were my life. I performed, and they rewarded me with applause and coin. And my skill in battle? Well, you pick up different skills when you travel, yes? Yes, of course. Let's move on. Yes? Well, here I am. I knew this would come up sooner or later. I don't know how to explain, but I had a dream. In it, there was an impenetrable darkness. It was so dense, so real. And there was a noise, a terrible, ungodly noise. I stood on a peak and watched as the darkness consumed everything. and when the storm swallowed the last of the sun's light, I fell, and the darkness drew me in. When I woke, I went to the Chantry's gardens, as I always do. But that day, the rosebush in the corner had flowered. Everyone knew that bush was dead. It was grey and twisted and gnarled, the ugliest thing you ever saw. But there it was, a single beautiful rose. It was as though the Maker stretched out his hand to say, even in the midst of this darkness, there is hope and beauty. Have faith. In my dream, I fell, or maybe I jumped. I'd do anything to stop the blight. I know that we can do it. There are so many good things in the Maker's world. How can I sit by while the blight devours everything? That is why you're a Grey Warden. Come, there's a blight to stop. Of course I do. I love stories far too much to keep them to myself. Everyone should be able to benefit from them, I think. Of course, Orlesians enjoy telling stories. I shall tell you my favorite tale of Aveline, the Knight of Olay. A long time ago, a girl child was born to a farmer. He had hoped for a son, not a daughter, and so he told his wife to abandon the child in the woods. Before the cold could claim her, the baby was found by a tribe of Dalish elves who took pity on the poor mewling thing and raised her as their own. Aveline, for that is what they called her, grew strong and quick and clever under the guidance of the elves. She learned to wield the sword as well as any man, could kill a deer with an arrow at 100 paces, and was as graceful on the back of a horse as she was on foot. Aveline's Dalish guardians saw that she could easily best any Orlesian chevalier in battle, and wanted to show the cruel humans the child they had left to die. They bestowed upon her a fine horse and armor, and sent her to prove herself to her people in the grand tourney. Now in those days, no woman was allowed to take up arms, let alone compete in the grand tourney, but Aveline kept her helmet on and was not discovered. Aveline won many events and gained the approval of the adoring crowd. Eventually, she came face to face with the knight Kaleva in the grand melee. Aveline had already bested him in the joust, and Kaleva was determined not to lose a second time. Out of desperation to regain his honor, Kaleva tripped Aveline and tossed her to the ground, ripping off her helmet as he did so. Silence fell upon the arena as Aveline was revealed. Kaleva declared the previous competitions invalid. A woman had taken part, and this was not allowed. But the crowd cheered for Aveline. Kaleva was furious, for he had lost to a woman and was now being shamed. Blinded by his rage, he forced Aveline to her knees. "Know your place, woman," cried he, and slit her throat. The son of the king, Prince Freyan, was present. He recognized Aveline's skill and bravery and began to see the injustice done to the women in his land. When he was made king, he rewrote the laws of Olay so that women could also become chevalier. He honored Aveline and knighted her after her death. And to this day, any female who is knighted reveres Aveline the Brave, for she is the patron of all women chevalier. I know one, told to me by my mother a long time ago. It always chilled me to the bone. Maybe you have heard of Flemeth? Are you sure? Was she the Flemeth of legend? Flemeth, the devourer of men? Flemeth, mother of witches? Flemeth, demon-touched, who dwells in the mists? Ferelden mothers scare their daughters with talk of Flemeth. They say that if you're bad, Flemeth will spirit you away and bind you to her forever. They also say that Flemeth mourns her lost beauty and will steal yours through your looking glass if she catches you. Flemeth's beauty was known throughout the land. She had hair like unto a moonless night, skin as pale as winter's first snow, and eyes as beautiful and perilous as the sea. When she came of age, she came to the attention of the Lord of Highever, Conobar, and he took her for his wife. Conobar soon learned that his young bride had the gift of magic. He kept this a secret, for he feared that she would be taken from him. Flemeth stayed with Conobar for some years, and with his blessing, she practiced her art. And then one day, a young poet named Osen came to the castle. Flemeth was captivated by Osen's voice, and he by her beauty, and they fell in love. Flemeth longed to be with her true love, and she and Osen fled from Conobar's lands, seeking refuge in the Kokari wilds with the Chasing tribes. They lived there happily for many a year, till the day Flemeth received news that Conobar was dying and longed to see her face one last time. Flemeth's heart swelled with pity for the man who once was her husband, and begged Osen to return to Conobar's side with her. But when Flemeth and Osen entered Highever, they were captured by Conobar's men, and Osen was slain in front of Flemeth's eyes. Flemeth was imprisoned in the highest tower of the castle, there to await Conobar's judgment on her. Distraught at the loss of her love, Flemeth plotted revenge against her husband. She summoned a fey demon, intending for it to wreak vengeance on Conobar. But a spell went awry. The demon possessed Flemeth. Turning her into an abomination, the halls of the castle ran red with blood as Flemeth slaughtered Conobar and all his men. The last of Flemeth's humanity melted away, and at dawn, she stole back to the wilds to plot and scheme for 100 years. They say she took to her side many Chasing men, and with their help, begat her daughter witches, who even now prowl the dark places of the Kokari wilds. Which one? I have heard a little about how the elves gained their freedom from the Tevinter Imperium. When Andraste began her exalted march against the Imperium, the elves joined her cause to fight their masters. The great elven leader, Shatan, born in captivity, rose up to lead his people. He foresaw a future where the elves were free. Shatan was killed when Andraste was betrayed, but the elves continued to fight, eventually breaking free of the Imperium. The elves claimed the Dales in the south and settled there in the land of their own. The elves lived in the Dales for centuries. They resurrected the worship of the elven gods and would allow the building of no chantry. This angered the chantry, and the hostility between the two factions finally broke out in open war. The chantry says the elves struck first, but I do not know whether to believe it. The chantry declared a holy exalted march against the elves, named for Andraste's similar march against Tevinter. During the exalted march of the Dales, the elven cities were sacked, and the elven state completely dissolved. Some of the elves bitterly accepted their fates and surrendered to human rule, living in the human cities as second-class citizens. But others, still fiercely proud of their heritage, refused to bow to the humans, and instead became homeless wanderers. They were the elves of the Dales, the Dalish. Andraste was the Maker's chosen. The Maker had long since abandoned the world when the sound of her singing turned his ear. Beauty, grace, and wisdom enraptured him, and he offered to take her from this flawed world to become his divine bride. But Andraste had an earthly husband and would not forsake him. Instead, she beseeched the Maker to return to his people once more. So earnest was her plea that the Maker was moved, and promised that he would create a paradise on earth if all abandoned their false gods and turned once more to him. And this is why Andraste began her exalted march on the idolaters of the Tevinter Imperium. The Maker granted her his powers with which to smite her enemies. Andraste brought the Imperium to its knees, and her victories converted many to the worship of the Maker. Alas, it was the frailties of men that betrayed and killed Andraste. Her earthly husband, Maferath, a chieftain of the Alamari tribes himself, grew jealous as his wife's popularity and influence overshadowed his own. She was also revered as the Maker's betrothed, and Maferath began to see their own bond waning in significance as Andraste became ever more devoted to the Maker. Out of envy and spite, Maferath made a pact with the Archon Hyserian of Tevinter, allowing his beloved Andraste to be ambushed and captured. Andraste was burned at the stake in Minrathous, the capital of Tevinter. The Tevinter chantry claims that in Andraste's last moments, Hyserian's heart softened, and he heard the voice of the Maker telling him to end her suffering. He plunged his sword into her heart, and as her blood washed over his hands, he became one of the faithful. Dissenters said that the Archon only converted because he could not stem the tide of Andraste's cult, and was forced to do so to stay in power. We will never know for sure. Of course I do. I love stories far too much to keep them to myself. Everyone should be able to benefit from them, I think. Chantry lore says it is man's pride that created the Darkspawn. In ages past, the mages of the Tevinder Imperium ruled much of the world we know. In their pride, they thought their magics invincible and imagined that they were greater than the Maker himself. So thinking, they invaded his golden city, planning to take it for themselves and depose their own creator. But they were impure and full of sin, and it is with the sin that they tainted the golden city, corrupting it forever. The Maker cursed them and cast them from his sight. Wherever they went, they spread the taint of their sin. Any land that was touched by the taint became blighted and would suffer no life. Instead, the Darkspawn arose to torment us and remind us of our hubris. Did you always live in an alienage? Was it very terrible? That is good to hear. I have never been to the Denerim alienage, but I hear that life is hard and there is so much squalor. In Orlais, most elven servants live in the homes of their masters, often in great wealth and luxury. I've known elven servants with servants of their own. A well-trained elven servant is highly valued in Orlais. They are nimble and dexterous, and many people find them pleasing to look at. No, I did not mean it that way. Oh, my words were clumsily chosen. I did not mean to offend. I am sorry. Of course, I am sorry if I implied otherwise. Thank you. You have given me a lot to think about. Have I ever told you I really like the way you wear your hair? It's very nice and it suits you. Simple. Not like the elaborate hairstyles we wore in Orlais. They involved flowers, ribbons, jewels. One year, feathers were all the rage, and Lady Elise decided she needed to outdo everyone else, and actually wore live songbirds in her voluminous hair. The chirping was quite charming for a while, but you must realize, terrified little birdies often have loose bowels. Yes, you can imagine what she looked like by the end of the evening. But I was trying to say something nice to you, wasn't I? Oh, forgive me. My mind wanders so. It's just that I feel so comfortable talking to you, like I could say anything and you wouldn't judge me. You see? This is what I mean. You're such a pleasure to talk to. I haven't felt this close to anyone in a long time. I really enjoy your company. And what would you do if I said I do? Very much so, in fact. Huh? You must do that then. Perhaps later when I'm not prepared for it. Surprise me. Come then, let us get going. If I recall correctly, you have some important earth-shattering business to attend to. Yes? Something you need? Yes? What's on your mind? My mother was from Denerim, and I consider myself a Ferelden. Mother served an Orlesian noblewoman who lived here when Orlais ruled. When Orlais was defeated and the common folk began to resent the presence of any Orlesian, the lady returned to Orlais. She took my mother with her. I was born in Orlais and did not set foot in Ferelden till much later. Mother was always telling me stories of her homeland. I think she missed it. Mother died when I was very young. Lady Cecily let me stay with her. I had no one else. She was quite old then, and she had me study music and dance to entertain her. It is unfair that I have more memories of Cecily than my mother. Strangely, the only thing I really remember of Mother was her scent. She kept dried flowers in her closet amongst her clothes. Small white Ferelden wildflowers with a sweet fragrance. Mother called them Andrastis Grace. They were very rare in Orlais. But enough about that. Let us move on. I miss Val-Royeaux. Unlike other cities where the people are the lifeblood and the character, Val-Royeaux was her own person, and her people little more than decorations. There was always music in Val-Royeaux, streaming from the many windows, quiet refrains and triumphant choruses, and always, floating above that all, the chant, coming from the Grand Cathedral. It was magnificent. Oh, it would take me a day or two to talk about the many splendors of Orlais, her golden fields, her lush meadows. Of course there are good things and bad things about Orlais, like anywhere else. Sometimes I miss it dearly, and sometimes I'm glad I'm rid of it. And you will laugh at this, but I miss the fine things I had in Orlais. Dresses, fine dresses and furs, and shoes, of course. One can't mingle with nobility with bad shoes, you see. Orlais is very fashionable, almost ridiculously so. But the shoes, living with those ridiculous trends was worth it for the shoes. Well, they're shoes. They're pretty. Some of them anyway. When I left Orlais, the fashion was shoes with delicate tapered heels and embellishments in the front. A ribbon, perhaps, or embroidery. In soft colors, of course. It was spring. I had my eye on a pair my shoemaker was working on. It was covered in pale blue silk with amber beads on the toe. The shoes made in Orlais were exquisite. Not at all like these clunky fur-lined leather boots you have in Ferelden. Ugh, just look at them. They're sturdy shoes, but sometimes a girl just wants to have pretty feet. Oh, I could talk about shoes all day, but we have things to do, don't we? Where did you hear this? And you believe everything you hear? Not all minstrels are spies. Most are just singers and storytellers, but some of them are what we call bards. Bards are minstrels and more. Spies, as you say. Some say there is a bard order, but I don't think this is true. Many bards work alone or in small groups, doing the bidding of a patron who pays for their services. If there is an organization behind it all, no one knows who they are. Nobles mostly. In Orlais, there is much rivalry amongst the highborn. They fight over land, influence, and the favor of the empress. But they cannot do this openly because it is impolite, and in public, they wear smiling faces and pretend to be civil. In secret, they plot and scheme to destroy each other. It is a game completely meaningless to anyone but its players. I have revealed too much, it seems, but it doesn't matter what I used to be. It is the past. I found myself in Ferelden and sheltered from bad weather in the Chantry, and when the storm passed, I just did not want to leave. I like to say the Maker brought me here. Yes? Something you need? There's an idea. I've watched you, and I do think you'd find some of my skills quite easy to pick up. Let's just go over there, away from the others. For safety, yes? I expect there shall be daggers flying about willy-nilly for a time. The stars are out. It comforts me to know that the stars will remain untouched by the blight. That whatever happens down here, they will shine eternally. Their light undimmed. There is a story about that cluster of stars over there. Do you know it? Elindra and her soldier? A long time ago, there lived a fair maiden called Elindra. She had many suitors, but spurned them all, for she did not love them. One day, Elindra was sitting by her window in her father's castle, singing and dreaming, when her lovely voice caught the attention of a young soldier. Entranced by her song, the soldier drew near to Elindra's window. As their eyes met, he fell in love with her, and she with him. When Elindra told her father about the man she had chosen, he was furious, for Elindra was high-born, but her love nothing more than a common soldier. To keep them apart, he had Elindra imprisoned in the highest tower of his castle, and sent her soldier to the wars. Alas, not a month had passed before news of the soldier's death reached Elindra. Alone in her tower, Elindra wept for her love and beseeched the gods to deliver her from this cruel world. So earnest was her plea that the gods themselves were moved. They gathered Elindra into their arms and lifted her high into the heavens, where she became a star. The gods also raised up the soul of Elindra's soldier love, and there he dwells, across the horizon from her. The band of stars between them is a river of Elindra's tears, cried for her lost love. They say that when Elindra has cried enough, she will be able to cross the river to be reunited with her soldier. This story is one of my favorites, a tale of a love so great and so enduring that it defies death and moves the gods to action. Sometimes I ask myself, does such a love exist? Can it exist? I never expected you to say that. It is a pleasant surprise. I have to say there is a certain severity to you. Finding a person behind that all is nice. Maybe you should let your softer side show more often. Sometimes following your heart, not your head, leads you to remarkable places. I enjoy the nights at camp. The night always seems more peaceful to me, safer. I feel the night grants us a reprieve from the troubles of the day. Silly, isn't it? The darkspawn never sleep, and they lurk in the shadows. I enjoy those nights when we stand guard together, talking to pass the time in those small hours. Well, I talk and you listen mostly. Sometimes I succumb and fall asleep and wake to find you still watchful. And I know you're watching out for me. What I'm trying to say is that I trust you. I'm comfortable around you. I know you'll be there when I need you. You are our leader and my friend, and sometimes I think that maybe we could be more than that. Maker, look at me stumbling over my words like an ill-educated peasant girl. Some bard I am. I'm not embarrassed. I'm just flushed because of the heat. Really? No one told me. You felt the same way and didn't do me the courtesy of informing me? You made me say all those things. Why couldn't you have said them first? Oh, how very awkward. Why am I being such a baby about this? I must be a sight spilling my guts. Well, that settles it then. I'm here for you. Of course. Wait, you want to talk about us? Is there something bothering you? Really? You think so? You're so sweet. I have not given this a lot of thought. What will I do? A brief stop at the cloister in Lothering is in order. I left quite abruptly, and I should tie up loose ends if I can. I'll not stay in Lothering for long. My time in the cloister was a time of healing, but I am ready to face the world again. There's so much out there. Adventures to be had and stories to be told. I want to be part of it all. I might need some company. And you're not too irritating. You're welcome to come along if you like. It is settled then. You and I wandering the world, seeking our fortunes. I can't wait. Blessed art thou who exists in the sight of the Maker. Blessed art thou who seeks his forgiveness. Blessed... what? Who you?
I beg you, do not disturb the girl's meditations.
Revered Mother, I do not know this person. I'm sorry, but I don't know what you're talking about.
Please do not vex her. She needs quiet and solitude to calm her mind and heal her heart.
Isn't real? I don't understand. There's something familiar about you, and I find myself trusting you, as odd as that may sound.
This is your home, your refuge. Do you truly wish to leave the comfort of this place behind? Stay and know peace.
There is no need. I carry the peace of the Chantry in my heart.
You are going nowhere, girl. I will not permit it. No, she is ours, now and forever.
Holy Maker! She was a... Ugh. My head feels heavy. Like I've just woken up from a terrible nightmare. I believe we had some task to accomplish. Let us be on our way. Wait. What's happening to me? Do you know about why I left Orlais? I didn't feel like talking about it then. What happened to me? Maybe it will affect us, maybe not, but you should know. I came to Ferelden and the Chantry because I was being hunted in Orlais. I was framed, betrayed by someone I thought I knew and could trust. Marjolaine. She was my mentor and friend. She taught me the bardic arts, how to enchant with words and song, to carry myself like a highborn lady, to blend in as a servant. The skills I learned, I used to serve her, my bard master, because I loved her, and because I enjoyed what I did. You can say it was my fault. There was a man I was sent to kill. I was to bring Marjolaine everything he carried. I don't know who this man was. She gave me a name and a description, and I hunted him down. I found documents on his body, sealed documents. It turns out that they were. My curiosity got the better of me. Something told me that I needed to know what was in those letters. Marjolaine had been selling all kinds of information about Orlais to other countries, Nevarra and Antiva among others. It was treason. Some. But I had always assumed Marjolaine only operated within Orlais. This was an unhappy surprise for me. My life as bard taught me that my loyalties should be kept fluid. My concern was not that she was a traitor, but that her life would be in danger if she was caught. Orlais has been at war with so many countries. It takes a harsh view of such things, as I later discovered. To Marjolaine. No one else. I resealed them and gave them to her, as she had instructed. I should have left well alone, but I didn't. I had to tell Marjolaine I feared for her life. She brushed aside my concern. She admitted her guilt, but said it was in the past. That is why the documents had to be destroyed, she said. I believed her. I kept believing up till the moment they showed me the documents, altered by her hand, to make me look the traitor. The Orlesian guards, they captured me. Did terrible things to make me confess and reveal my conspirators. It was a traitor's punishment I endured. And at the end of it, all that awaited me was eternity in an unmarked grave. The skills Marjolaine taught me were good for something at least. I broke free when I saw the opportunity. I did not seek Marjolaine out. If she thought I was coming for her, she would have me caught again. I was tempted to confront her. I was furious, betrayed. But what could I do against her? And so I fled to Ferelden, to the Chantry and the Maker. Ferelden protected my person, and the Maker saved my soul. And that is the reason I am here. The real reason. No more lies between us, at least in this. It feels good to have this off my chest. Thank you for listening and understanding.
You're quite taken with each other, aren't you? I've noticed your blossoming relationship, and I wanted to ask you where you thought it was going. Leliana is a remarkable girl, sincere and guileless, and she has opened her heart to you. I would not like to see her hurt. Not intentionally, no. But there is great potential for tragedy here, for one or both of you. You are a Grey Warden. You have responsibilities which supersede your personal desires. Love is ultimately selfish. It demands that one be devoted to a single person who may fully occupy one's mind and heart to the exclusion of all else. A Grey Warden cannot afford to be selfish. You may be forced to make a choice between saving your love and saving everyone else. And then what would you do? Nothing is certain. Not in these times. You cannot take anything for granted. I want you to be aware of this. If you insist, I have given my advice. Do with it what you will.
I'm wondering something. I'd like to know your thoughts about some of our traveling companions. Do you mind if I ask? What about Leliana? Is she crazy? Or do you really believe in her vision? That's one way to put it. I noticed that you and her have become close. Am I right? The rest of us have talked about it. I thought so. Well, I hope you know what you're doing. I don't know what to make of her. If you look at her when she doesn't see you, she just looks so sad. I almost feel guilty taking her away from her life. Yes, I know. Still, I feel badly for her.
Stop. Don't kill him. He is no common bandit. None of them were. Their weapons and armor are of fine make, and they are well trained. You know what I'm talking about, don't you? Who are you?
Someone who regrets taking you on. I was told it would be an easy job. Kill the little red-haired girl. Deal with the others as we pleased.
Kill the... You came to kill me?
I don't pay to ask why someone wants someone else dead. I just need to know what to do and where to get my money. Ha! Money. I'll be lucky to get away with my life, it seems. Maybe we could work something out. You like the idea?
Speak quickly.
I've no real quarrel with you. Wasn't me that wanted you dead. But I know how you can find the one who does. Never found out. Got the feeling the man I spoke to was doing someone else's bidding, too. I have some directions written down on how to get to the house. It's in Denham. Yeah, it's the best I can do.
Thank you. Now leave. I never want to see you again.
Don't worry. I'll not trouble you no more.
It's Marjolaine. It has to be. Maybe someone saw me. Maybe she's finally found me and wants to finish what she started. Perhaps it's time to settle this score for good.
So I imagine it has been some time for you, Leliana.
Some time for me? I do not know what you mean.
Some time since you last knocked boots, shall we say? You did just come from the cloistered life, no?
Of course it has been some time. There are more important things in life than knocking boots, Zevran.
Oh, I'll not argue that. I simply mean that the body has urges. Urges given to us by the Maker. Yours must be considerable after all that time.
That is a very personal question.
I mean no offense. I simply offer my services should you ever feel the need for release.
Very kind of you. Perhaps I should speak to the Grey Warden for advice on whether or not I should accept your offer.
Adventure has changed you, Leliana.
For the better, I hope.
Leliana! Ah, so lovely to see you again, my dear.
Spare me the pleasantries. I know you're...
Oh, you must excuse the shabby accommodations. I try to be a good host, but you see what I have to work with. This country smells like wet dog everywhere. I cannot get the smell out. Even now it is in my hair, my clothes. Ugh. So businesslike, your companion.
You framed me, had me caught, and tortured. I thought that in Ferelden I would be free of you, but it seems I am not. What happened to make you hate me so? Why do you want me dead so badly?
Dead? Nonsense. I know you, my Leliana. I know what you are capable of. 4 or 5 men you can dispatch easily. They were sent to give you cause to come to me. And see, here you are.
You are so transparent. What are you up to, Marjolaine? Why are you in Ferelden?
In truth, you have knowledge that you can use against me. For my own safety, I cannot let you be. It is you think I did not know where you were? Did you think I would not watch, my Leliana? What is she up to, I thought? The quiet life, the peasant clothes, hair ragged and messy like a boy. This is not her. You were planning something, I told myself, so I watched. But no letters were sent, no messages, you barely spoke to anyone. Clever, Leliana, very clever. You almost had me fooled. But then, you left the Chantry so suddenly. What conclusion should I draw? You tell me.
You think I left because of you? You think I still have some plan for revenge? You are insane, paranoid.
Oh, is that what you think? If I were you, I would believe nothing she says. Not a one. She will use you. You look at her and you see a simple girl, a friend, trusting and warm. It is an act.
I am not you, Marjolaine. I left because I didn't want to become you.
Oh, but you are me. You cannot escape it. No one will understand you the way I do, because we are one and the same. Do you know why you were a master manipulator, Leliana? It is because you enjoyed the game. You reveled in the power it gave you. You cannot change or deny this.
Thank you. You will not threaten me or my friends again, Marjolaine. I want you out of my life forever. Leave Ferelden. Go back to Orlais and never return. What you do is no longer my concern.
I see. I will go, for now. But you carry a dangerous secret of mine, Leliana. It is not over. Not for us.
She's gone. I don't know what to think. She said it wasn't over. No, she was lying. She won't come back. I need some time to myself. We will talk later. Oh, hello. Is there something you wanted to talk about? It's nothing. I'm fine. I'm just thinking. I can't get what happened out of my head. I'd been in Lothering for years, and she still thought I was plotting against her. She didn't trust me. Maybe she never did. She loved me when she could use me and control me. And now that she can't, she wants me dead. It hurts to realize that I never really knew her. You are already helping so much by listening to me. I knew she was ruthless, but I didn't know how far she could go. She is self-serving, cruel. She uses people, then discards them. But that's how she survives in the life she leads. What if she's right? What if we're the same? I should just have stayed in the Chantry. You don't understand. I forgot my life as a bard while I was in the cloister. I felt safe. I didn't have to watch my back all the time. That's what made Marjolaine the person she is, don't you see? It ruined her. It will ruin me too. Even now, I feel some regret at not ending her life in order to protect my own. What we're doing, what we've done, hunted men down, killed them. Part of me loves it. It invigorates me, and this scares me. I feel myself slipping. How can you be so sure? Do you really think so? Hearing you say that gives me comfort. I would like to be alone for now. I have many things to consider. Thank you for listening to me. It has been some time since I left Lothering. When I stepped out of the cloister, I had no idea where my path would lead. I walked where the Maker led me, and he has rewarded me for my faith. I found you. You don't know how it makes me feel to hear you say that. But now it's getting late. I think I might turn in early. I can't help thinking about how soft and warm my bedroll is. You're welcome to join me, of course. The Maker says we must share our blessings. Good. Now come with me before I lose my patience. Hello. I've been up for some time, but yes, I slept very well. I've just been watching you sleep. Did you know your eyelids flutter when you dream? And you have such pretty eyelashes. So I hear. I'm so happy, blissful. I haven't slept so well since I was forced to flee from Orlais. Knowing you will be the first thing I see when I wake gives me no small amount of comfort. I feel safe in your arms. Safe, loved and accepted. This is where I belong. Thank you. I suppose I should get up. We have a long day ahead of us. I think it will be a beautiful day. Flowers? For me? They're beautiful. These were her favorite. I haven't seen these in such a long time. They smell just like Mother used to. Thank you. Thank you so much for remembering. Oh, it's one of those subterranean bunny pigs. Oh, look at him. Come here, you. Thank you so much. You've made my day.
What's on your mind? I have watched you for a time, and perhaps I was wrong. There seems to be something special between the two of you. I think she feels she's truly found her place with you. That after all her wanderings, she's finally home. I think I was too harsh in my judgment before, and I am sorry. What you have may not last forever. Death and duty may part you, but love's worthiness is not diminished because of that. I should have seen this before. Instead, you learn to cherish every precious moment that you spend together, knowing that it may be the last. And for those of us watching, well, it brings warmth to these old bones to know that something so beautiful can be found in the midst of chaos and strife.
Well, aren't you sweet and attentive? Of course. There are many rumors about spies, or legion or otherwise. What are you referring to exactly? I admit I have done many despicable things in my lifetime. I do what I have to do. So do you. So does everybody. Sometimes we must do terrible things to get what we want. If it is any consolation, I always try to use non-violent means to achieve my ends. Some bards rely on torture to get what they want. It works effectively, as many will bend under the threat of bodily harm. But there are better ways, more subtle and kind. You will be surprised how easily a person will open up to you, even if all you offer is a listening ear. People respond eagerly to others who they believe understand them. They seek approval, friendship, sometimes love. This can be exploited. It is a game, one that can be won with little bloodshed if one plays well. Isn't it? Everyone can be seduced by the right woman. The trick is predicting who she is and becoming her. Master the game, and no one can resist you. If I might be so bold, yes, I was quite good at it. Sometimes, all I had to do was toss a glance and a smile. Men read promises into such things and will go to great lengths to see that promise fulfilled. I could... what? Oh, aren't you funny? I see your point. We will slay this darkspawn using conventional means, pointy sticks and all that. But come, it is getting late and there is much to be done.
Do you realize that you've been smiling for hours now? Since the last time you and that girl shot glances at each other, in fact. I cannot imagine what you begin to see in her. I hope at least the dalliance is worthwhile. I see. Glad to hear it then. 'Tis a bit sickening to watch you two, but I imagine it at least takes your mind from our situation. Have it your way.
I was just thinking about what happened to the elves, and I'm reminded of a song sung to me many years ago. It was when my mother died, and this wise elven woman comforted me and told me that we shouldn't fear death or hate it. Death is just another beginning. One day, we must all shed our earthly bodies to allow our spirits to fly free. It's a beautiful sentiment, I think. One that brings peace and hope to the grieving. Do you remember our discussion? I just wanted to tell you that I thought about what you told me, and you were right. Despite what Marjolaine says, I am not like her. I know that now. I've found peace in knowing the Maker, and nothing will change that. I followed you to make the world a better place, and as long as I keep that in mind, I will not fall. Sometimes, it takes another to show us the truths we hide from ourselves. Maybe you'll just have to wait and see, won't you? You've seen and touched Andraste's ashes. They are the holiest thing on this earth, the remains of the Maker's chosen. I do not know if I am worthy to look upon her. Yes, of course, but it still is something to be in awe of. Yes, a little better. Time heals all wounds, so they say. Scars remain, but they are just colors in the painting that is my life, no? I wish things had happened differently, but knowing her and knowing me, I don't think it could have. We had good times, though, and I look back on those fondly. Whatever happened after will never change the truth of the past. It's not so bad. Look, now I have new friends, a new family. In spite of it all, life is good.
What's your business in Fort Draken?
I'm here to deliver this hound to your kennel, Master.
I wasn't told we were getting a Mabari.
Who's a good puppy? Who's a good puppy? You are! Yes, you are. I'm sorry, what did you say? Oh, you're a good puppy, aren't you? Aren't you? You are.
Miss? Miss? Hello? Oh, Maker, I'll get the captain.
Don't worry, I know what I'm doing. Just try to act nonchalant, and I'll give you a biscuit when we're done.
All right, what's this about?
I'm delivering a new Mabari to the kennels. Isn't he beautiful?
Why does the blighted Houndmaster never notify me of these things? Very well, take him through. And tell Neville I want a word with him when you get there.
State your business.
You're the officer on duty, aren't you?
I am.
Is it difficult? I can't imagine being responsible for the lives of an entire fortress full of people.
What do you mean?
Everyone depending on you all the time? It doesn't keep you up at night? You don't think to yourself, what if I slip up? What happens then?
No.
And not just in the fort. The whole city of Denerim relies on you. Thousands of people.
I hadn't really thought of it that way.
I just can't imagine.
You know, Maker, I think I'm going to be sick.
There you are. Follow me, the Arl is waiting for us.
Why are half the people they quarantine perfectly healthy? I don't believe it.
Maker's breath. They said all the Grey Wardens died with the king. Everyone thought... Valendrian even held a funeral for you.
Cousin, you have no idea the things that happened after your wedding. I'm babbling, aren't I? I'm so happy to see you.
You're married? You didn't mention that. Why not? Did he get cold feet? Did his parents disapprove of the match? Oh, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have asked.
So much has happened.
What I propose is this. Convince Alistair to lay with me, here tonight. And from this ritual, a child shall be conceived within me. The child will bear the taint, and when the archdemon is slain, its essence will seek the child like a beacon. At this early stage, the child can absorb that essence and not perish. The archdemon is still destroyed with no Grey Warden dying in the process. Not at all. It will become something different. A child born with the soul of an old god. After this is done, you allow me to walk away, and you do not follow. Ever. The child will be mine to raise as I wish. Even if I thought Riordan could be convinced, he is unsuitable. I need one who has not been tainted for long. It must be him, and it must be tonight. You will advise him to do so, and because he trusts you more than he would ever trust me, he will comply. Consider the alternative. If Riordan fails, do you think Alistair will hesitate? The future king of Ferelden? He will die the hero, and you will be overshadowed. Just a Grey Warden who accompanied the king. If you would rather, consider Leliana. What do you think she would advise, if she knew the life of her beloved was at risk? I think you know. I think you have many good reasons to tell him to save his own life. I think you should consider them carefully. A wise decision. I shall wait here then while...
So this is it? This is the end? We've come so far. It's strange knowing that all our fates will be decided in a matter of hours. We stand on the precipice before the greatest battle of our age. I wonder if the heroes of old ever felt like this. I am not afraid. We go to fight for a good cause, and there is nowhere else I would rather be. You are my dearest friend and my love. You lit my path through darkness, and I will stand with you to whatever end. This day, we will forge a legend of our own. So here we are. The conquering heroine has won the day, and now she takes her bow and exits the stage. A fine ending. Yes. Yes, she most certainly does. You know, I can't help now but think of my vision. The Maker sent me to help you, and look what you did. It's a miracle. It truly is. So, if I heard right, you'll be leaving soon. Any room for an extra body on your travels? Good. Because there's nowhere I'd rather be than at your side. At any rate, I should let you get back to your celebration before someone drags you away. I look forward to seeing you again afterwards. The Resolutionists. I might have known they would be part of this. Are you Sister Nightingale? I am. Or you may call me Leliana. The Divine sent me to investigate the possibility of a rebellion here in Kirkwall. I have some experience in unconventional situations.
The Leliana, who accompanied the hero of Ferelden to slay the Archdemon.
Ah, I see it will be harder to remain anonymous so near the Ferelden border. Yes, I knew the hero of Ferelden. She is dear to my heart. I am working for the Divine now, in Orlais. I had not thought to return to this part of Thedas.
Who are the Resolutionists?
An offshoot of a fraternity within the Circle of Magi. There have always been factions that support freedom from the Chantry and the abolition of the Circle. We have tolerated them, but the Resolutionists have become violent. They are likely behind the unrest here.
I hardly imagined the Divine's secret agent looking like you.
That is why I am effective. The Divine has long suspected that Kirkwall's problems were spurred by an outside group.
Like any mage with a brain can't come up with, let's rebel.
This attack proves she is right.
Are you saying you set this whole thing up?
I let word slip that an agent of the Divine was coming to investigate the mage troubles. It is how they chose to react which condemns them.
A few, wild cards aside, Grand Cleric Althena has it all under control, I swear.
Divine Justinia takes the situation here very seriously. She believes it is the worst threat to Thedas since the Cunara invaded.
A handful of apostates. How can that possibly...
The whole world is watching Kirkwall. If it falls to magic, none of us are safe.
None of you?
Tell Althena to leave. There is refuge for her at the Grand Cathedral in Orlais. She will not be safe here. Blessed are the peacekeepers, the champions of the just. Blessed are the righteous, the lights in the shadow. In their blood, the Maker's will is written. Is that what you want from us? Blood? To die so that your will is done? Is death your only blessing? You speak for Andraste, no? What does the Maker's prophet have to say about all of this? What's his game?
How is this a game?
Do you see the sky? What about the temple ruins? The bones lying in the dust? Even if you didn't support the Divine's peace, you wouldn't call this right. Who could? So many innocent lives. The faithful murdered where the holiest of holies once stood. If the Maker willed this, what is it if not a game or a cruel joke?
Don't ask me. I'm as baffled as you are.
You probably don't even worship the Maker. Lucky. He asks a lot. The Chantry teaches that the Maker abandoned us. He demands repentance for our sins. He demands it all. Our lives, our deaths. Justinia gave him everything she had, and he let her die.
I'm sorry. Her death has clearly hit you hard.
Not just me. All of us. She was the Divine. She led the faithful. She was their heart. If the Maker doesn't intervene to save the best of his servants, what good is he? I used to believe I was chosen, just as some say you are. I thought I was fulfilling his purpose for me, working with the Divine, helping people. But now she's dead. It was all for nothing. Serving the Maker meant nothing.
Maybe you have another purpose. I could help you find it.
No, this is my burden. I regret that I even let you see me like this. It was a moment of weakness. It won't happen again. Come. To work, then. We will speak later. Too, it's true. Butler has stand on us. I hope my hunch was wrong.
You knew him well?
Not as well as I thought. Show me the reports. There were so many questions surrounding Faria's death. Did he think we wouldn't notice? He's killed Faria, one of my best agents, and knows where the others are. You know what must be done. Make it clean. Painless if you can. We were friends once.
Wait, what are you doing?
He betrayed us. He murdered my agent.
And you'd kill him, just like that?
You find fault with my decision?
We can't solve our problems with murder.
And what would you suggest? Leave him be. Butler's betrayal put our agents in danger. I condemned one man to save dozens. I may not like what I do, but it must be done. I cannot afford the luxury of ideals at a time like this.
If you don't like what you do, it's a pretty good sign you're doing something bad.
That is certainly one way to put it. Very well. I will think of another way to deal with this man. Apprehend Butler, but see that he lives. Now, if you're happy, I have more work to do.
You have a history with the warden who ended the Blight, don't you?
She's always in my thoughts. Even when we're far apart. My love is on a quest of her own. When the Inquisition has no further need of me, I will join her. For good this time. I have lost enough. I will not lose her as well. I'm sorry.
So am I.
The names of those we lost. You must blame me for this.
We all saw who attacked us. We know exactly who to blame.
I keep wondering if I could have done something different. When the first of my lookouts went missing, I pulled the rest back, awaiting more information. If they'd stayed in the field, they could have bought us more time. I was afraid to lose my agents. And instead, we lost Haven.
You look out for your people. That's a good thing.
Is it? My people know their duty. They know the risks. They understand that the Inquisition may call upon them to give their lives.
Our people aren't tools to be used and discarded. Your instincts were right. Their lives matter.
Can we afford such sentimentality? What if Corypheus...
We are better than Corypheus.
Your open support for the mages likely earned you enemies. Our agents will monitor the situation. If the most opposed can be identified, we may still turn this to our advantage.
You're not planning assassinations, are you?
I was planning to unleash Josephine on them. She kills with kindness. Regardless, I applaud you for the courage to stand up for the mages.
The Divine's death hit you hard. How have you been feeling?
Oh, you are referring to my outburst in Haven. I am much better now. Justinia was such a dear friend and there were so many things going wrong.
Sometimes it's best to talk these things out.
I was with the hero Ferelden when she defeated the Archdemon. With her by my side, anything was possible. But there is no happily ever after, not when life goes on. When the Divine requested my help, I went to her. I owed her that much. I sacrificed so much to do the Maker's work. But now, Justinia is dead. I was angry. I felt betrayed. But I shouldn't have let my emotions get the better of me. I'm sorry.
Don't apologize. You were grieving and upset. I understand.
Thank you. Now enough of this. Let us think more pleasant thoughts. What we learned at Adamant concerns me. The hero Ferelden and I have been together for years. I nearly lost her to the Archdemon. She's looking for a way to stop the calling from taking her, as it does every Grey Warden. But if Corypheus has power over the Wardens, my love could be in danger.
If you two are still together, why isn't she here?
Her quest took her far to the west, to lands that have never known the Blight. But Justinia needed me here. I owed her that much. My love and I are never truly apart. When this is all over, I will join her again. And this time, nothing will come between us.
What makes her think she can stop the calling?
It has been done before. Grand Enchanter Fiona was once a warden, but something took all trace of the calling from her. A warden mage named Avernus also found a way to prolong his life with magic. It wasn't much, but enough to start the hunt. She will find a way. I have faith in her.
Were the two of you happy together in the years after the Blight?
Happier than you could imagine. The only shadow over our love was knowing that one day I would lose her to the calling. Her quest is for me as much as for her. She knows how much I have lost.
What would you like to do?
I do not know where the hero of Ferelden is precisely, but I know how to get a message to her. She may have information that helps the Inquisition. At worst, it will do no harm. I will draw up a plan in the war room. Thank you. I received a note from the hero of Ferelden. She misses me. I very much needed to know she was still out there fighting to be with me. Thank you. It is a great relief, and I appreciate you allowing me to send the messenger. Now, can I help you with anything? So it's true. Some look to Cassandra or even me as Justinia's successor. I never thought the idea would gain momentum. Of course, with the other candidates out of the picture...
They must be desperate.
It's much less flattering when you put it that way. If only being divine were as simple as looking good in a large hat. Restoring the Chantry will be like trying to steer a sinking vessel through a storm.
Whoever becomes divine will have my support if she requires it.
And I'm sure whoever becomes divine will absolutely require the Inquisition's backing. The Chantry is faltering, but it still has influence over the people. Who tells the people what's right? Who do they look to in times of peril? A divine with enough support can change the Chantry. And with it, Thedas. But this is a discussion for later. If Corypheus wins, finding a new divine will be the least of our problems. A message from Divine Justinia.
That's a shock. You all right reading it?
Thank you for the concern, Inquisitor. But I am. This message was written months, perhaps even years ago, to be delivered to me if she died. I've heard of such contingency plans. A sudden death often leaves loose ends. I'm to go to Valence, a small village on the waking sea. There is something hidden there.
You know what you're looking for?
The Divine was a powerful woman who used her position to obtain all sorts of things. Whatever she hid in Valence would very likely benefit the Inquisition and must be kept from falling into the wrong hands. If I'm lucky, she will have instructions for me.
You take your instructions from me. What sort of help can a dead divine give you?
I don't know. Perhaps something to do with the Chantry. Or it could be personal. She guided me for many years, Inquisitor, as a divine and as a friend. There are days when I still look to her for advice, only to remember that I am alone.
I'll help in whatever way I can.
Wonderful. I was hoping you would agree to come with me to Valence. One more thing. If what is hidden in Valence is as valuable as I think, we're not going to be the only ones looking for it. I shall meet you at the Chantry in Valence. Try not to delay. It's just as I remember it.
You didn't tell me you'd been here before.
The hero of Ferelden and I came here after the Blight to visit Justinia. She was just Dorothea then, a revered mother.
It's peaceful here. You must have good memories of this place.
It was a place of comfort. It is good to see it still untouched by Corypheus.
Leliana, is that you?
Sister Natalie, what are you doing here? I thought you were in Val Rayo.
No, I've been here since Justinia died. This place makes me feel like she's still with us.
Inquisitor, this is Natalie, a trusted friend.
Wait, Inquisitor? You brought the Inquisitor here? My lady, forgive me for not recognizing you earlier.
I wish more people would fail to recognize me.
Oh, I see.
Natalie, listen. There is something hidden here. Something Justinia left for me.
Oh, really? What is it?
I don't know, but we'll find it. I'm curious to see what brought us all here. Sorry to keep you waiting.
Leliana, stop! What are you doing?
I'm protecting us. They never sing the benedictions here on Fridays, Natalie. Something so simple. And you got it so wrong. I wanted to believe, but you were lying from the start. Keep that pretty mouth shut if you must, dear. You've already told me everything I need to know. The prickleweed burrs on your hem, talking about the sun rising through the breach. It all points to a single place. Morel in the Dales, Grand Cleric Victoire's bastion. She sent you, didn't she? Victoire was always an opportunist.
Who is this Grand Cleric? I've never heard of her.
An experienced cleric. She never agreed with Justinia, but kept her ideas to herself. I suppose now, with Justinia dead, she thought she could make her move.
I want to know what this Grand Cleric planned here.
She sent Natalie here to see what Justinia was hiding, no?
The Inquisition has turned Thidas away from the true chantry. It must be stopped.
Stop us? You must be joking.
Mother Victoire is well loved by many. The Inquisition has more enemies than you know.
And Victoire thinks she can ally with them.
We don't have to be at odds, Natalie. You could come with us. Join the Inquisition.
I was called to serve the Grand Cleric. I will not betray her. Kill me then. I am not afraid to die for my beliefs. At least I still know what I believe.
Release her, Leliana. She's no threat.
The Grand Cleric?
She is one woman. We are the Inquisition.
The Inquisitor has spoken. Run. Tell your mistress that she has a choice. The Inquisition is coming. No! This can't be it. There's nothing here.
It's not what you expected. That doesn't mean it's nothing.
There's a message carved in the lid. The left hand should lay down her burden. She's releasing me. The divine has a long reach, but it is always her left hand that stretches out. 1,000 lies, 1,000 deaths. Her commands, but my conscience that bore the consequences.
She apologized in the Fade. She said she failed you. This is what she meant.
All this time, Justinia carried the fear that she was using me. Just like I'd been used in the past. But Marjolaine's games were trifles. Justinia gambled with the fate of nations. She needed me. No one else could have done what I did. She knows that.
Then you have to let it go. Let her go. You don't owe her anything anymore.
If it were not for you, I would have killed Natalie and called it a good thing. Thank you for showing me what was right when I couldn't see it for myself. There are things that must be said, but not here. I will see you back at Skyhold.
I'm told that Ambassador Montillier is pleased with the restraint you showed in Valence.
She's positively beside herself. I will never hear the end of it. Niceness before knives, Leliana. Haven't I always told you?
Will that be all, my lady?
For now.
How have you been feeling since Valence?
Good. Wonderful. Valence was something of a rebirth for me. If you hadn't been with me at Valence, I would have killed Natalie. I'd have told you that I didn't have a choice. But there is always a choice. I am more than this. I am more than what Justinia made me.
What does this mean for my Inquisition? Will you still be my spy master?
Of course. I would not give up my post. Not after everything we've built. I just know now that I shouldn't ignore my heart. Mercy is not always a weakness.
Do you resent Justinia for what she did?
How can I when there is so much between us? When she gave her life for peace? No, I believe her intentions were pure. Most intentions are.
You've exceeded her. She could never have imagined the power you now hold.
And now I will know how to use that power wisely. I have to stay true to who I really am, before a spy master left hand or barred. I almost lost myself. I was pondering who might be divine, and it suddenly occurred to me. Is it so ridiculous for the Grand Clerics to support me? Why shouldn't they?
If you were divine, what would you do?
Change things. Change everything. Your support of the Mage Rebellion was a good start. We must build on this. No more circles. The mages will be free. The Chantry will accept them as the Maker's children. In fact, it will accept everyone. Elves, dwarves, even Canary. Why exclude them? The Chantry allows our differences to tear us apart, instead of teaching us how we are the same.
I think you would make a good divine.
I am glad to hear it. Your support may persuade the Grand Clerics to vote in my favor. The Chantry was a beacon of hope to me once, you know. In my years at Lothering's Chantry, we turned no one away from our doors. It was a refuge, a place of peace. I felt the Maker's presence and his love even when they told me he'd left us. This is the Chantry I know, the Chantry I wish the world to see.
The world could certainly use the force for good you describe.
Yes, the Chantry should be a force for good instead of what it is. The Chantry dictated where it should have inspired. It spoke of judgment instead of acceptance. It should encourage the good in everyone, rather than rebuke us for our sins. No one should be turned away from our doors. No one is without worth. Whoever you are, whatever your mistakes, you are loved, unconditionally. In your heart shall burn an unquenchable flame.
1 month after the defeat of Corypheus, the Chantry names Leliana as successor to the Sunburst throne. Given the name Divine Victoria, she first declares an end to the Circle of Magi. The mages will now govern themselves. She opens the priesthood to other races, declares support for the Inquisition, and rededicates the Chantry to the principle of charity. Divine Victoria is controversial from the start. Several new sects arise, resisting her reforms and declaring her rule a threat to the faith. She meets with their leaders, urging unity. Miraculously, her words take root, and for now, the Chantry remains strong.
Divine Victoria, am I interrupting?
Of course not, Inquisitor. I was catching up with Redcliffe's Arl. He's here to represent Ferelden at the summit.
Inquisitor, good to meet you.
I'll try not to keep you from more important matters.
Very well. We'll continue this later, your perfection.
Many are frightened of the Inquisition's power, but I will do all I can to allay their fears.
Is there anything I can do to make your job easier?
Explore the grounds. Let yourself be seen. The delegates need to put a face to the legend. I have much to do, but let me say this. I may no longer be your spy master, but I am always here if you require. Inquisitor, Is there something I can help with?
How are things between you and the hero of Ferelden?
We see each other whenever we can. There is gossip, of course. People who call me inappropriate. But love is one of the Maker's greatest gifts, and nothing to be ashamed of. Start and end with love, and everything else falls into place. As Divine, I have tried to spread this message. It's taken some time, but I think people are listening, especially now.